We're often told to never give up because winners never quit. Yeah, right, that's total BS. I used to follow this advice. I really did. But giving up on one of my dreams was what totally turned my life around. I only wish I'd quit a lot sooner. You see, back when I was 9 years old, I developed pretty severe IBS. I wasn't able to go to school regularly, and it even made it really difficult to travel to see my family. And so for the next few years, supported by the doctor, my big dream was to find a cure. I was willing to do whatever it took for that day to come sooner. I followed every instruction from the doctors to the letter, even if it was making my life worse. Some temporary suffering to be free of the shackles tying me to the toilet seemed like a pretty good trade, right? Wrong. Unfortunately, none of the interventions ever had a lasting positive effect for me. So the months of temporary suffering had stretched into years. Most of the medications I was on, at one point, were actually treating side effects from other medications. And the restricted diet that I'd been put on had slowly become more and more restricted. This was probably what hampered the enjoyment of my teen years the most, because I was never able to go and eat out, and since it was so difficult to find suitable brands, it made traveling really difficult as we had to take all my food with us wherever we went. Combine that with the need to be really close to a bathroom, and you have a real dampener on a young man's social life. At one point, in fact, my restricted diet became so extreme that I was consuming only a hypoallergenic formula. No real food for several months. And unfortunately, no lasting positive effect from that either. The failure of even this to provide some relief for me made it seem like my life was never going to get any better. And it caused me to give up hope of ever finding a cure. So I stopped trying to find one. Instead, I turned my attention to solving other problems that I'd been neglecting because they just hadn't seemed as important. The first was the knee and back pain that I got quite often. I decided it was probably down to a muscular instability and that working out would help. And after a couple of months, it was problem solved. At the same time, I was also aging out of pediatrics, so I went to a new dietitian who was a little bit confused as to why I was still on a restricted diet if it wasn't helping. And so under her supervision, we decided to relax my diet so my life could at least be a little bit tastier. And you have no idea how good cow's milk tasted after almost a decade without it. But it also did more than that, and that allowed me to travel again. Because I gave up my relentless drive to find the perfect solution, the cure, to what seemed like my biggest problem, I was able to solve so many other little problems that my life still improved immensely. And oddly enough, even my IBS, the big one, is a lot better now than it ever was back then. It was only when I quit aiming for perfect that I was willing to try all these half measures that held the promise of some improvement, even if they could never actually cure me. If I'd known that quitting would take me from a teenager stuck in his bedroom to moving continents and forming my own family and living the life I actually want to, I would have quit a lot sooner. So what perfect dream are you aiming for that's getting in the way of you actually making progress? Are you going to quit it today? Let me know in the comments below, and if you like this video, please give me a thumbs up and hit subscribe so you know every time I release a new one. And I'll see you next time.